Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Tech Informist. This is Kevin Harvell, your host. I'm joined by Brad Whiteside today. How are you doing, Brad?
Hey, it is Friday. I'm doing good.
Friday. Yes, it is. This is episode 75 of the Tech Informist, recorded on Friday, May the 29th, 2015. This week is pretty much all about Google. So if you're a Google fan, fanatic, whatever you want to call yourself, hey, this is going to be the episode that you want to hear because yesterday Google I/O 2015 kicked off out in, I guess, San Francisco at the Moscone Center. So I believe that's where it's being held.
I believe so. So this is going to be like the opposite of the role for Build, where you only skimmed through Build. Well, this is kind of I just got a chance to skim through Google I/O because I've been super busy at work. So I'm going to rely on you, and then I'm just going to kind of bounce off of what you got going on there.
Oh, goodness, you're going to rely on me, and I was going to rely on you because, man, I've been super busy too. I recorded so many
well,
interviews.
This should get interesting.
No, I recorded so many interviews yesterday for our STL Tech Talk show here in St. Louis. I had, live interview, and then I did 6 more last night. So, and of course, yesterday was the big Google I/O kickoff keynote session. So, man, but, I've been able to skim through and, look at some of the things that have been interesting. But, yeah, we're going to get into those bits of news as well. But, again, welcome everybody to the Tech Informist. As you can kind of see over my right shoulder, for those of you that are watching the video, that's actually our website up on using the Apple AirPlay. Actually, I'm using the HDMI because for some reason the Apple AirPlay did not want to connect today. So yeah, just kind of looking at what the website looks like on a big screen, kind of TV monitor there. It's kind of nice, little change for those of you that are actually watching the video. But as mentioned before, it's Google I/O time. So Android Central, of course, they've got a big team of people out there as well, and they're covering things. And they did a nice little quick blurbs of, top 10 things or 10 most important things from the Google I/O keynote that came out. And we'll start off talking about the Android M in this developer preview. Android M is, of course, the successor to the current version, which is Android L, Lollipop. They did not give the name of what the M is going to stand for, so obviously there's still a lot of guessing. That usually doesn't come out until about a month or so before the final release of the official launch of it.
I keep hearing macadamia cookie or macadamia nut cookie or something like that. That's what I keep hearing.
I've been seeing that a lot lately. So, and I think that's what they said that is being used internally at Google is macadamia. And again, I believe they kind of changed things up with Kit Kat. It was not Kit Kat internally, or
well, maybe it's just to throw people off. It might be like their internal, what they call it, and then they'll come out with like marshmallow or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, like we've mentioned before, kind of still think that marshmallow is the most kind of logical choice when it comes to, hey, what would be the Google statue look like for M? So some of the things that you can kind of expect with Android M, which actually, if you've got a Nexus 6, a Nexus 5 smartphone, or a Nexus 9 tablet, you can actually download the developer preview onto your device now and try it out. Take it for a spin.
Hey.
But, I don't have a Nexus 5 and I don't have a Nexus 6 any longer. Or a Nexus 9. So I will not be able to try it out at the moment. But there's been a lot of YouTube videos and stuff like that. MKBHD, Marquez Brownlee on YouTube, he's done a video on it. And there's been a bunch of other sites that have done videos and talked about it as well. But some of the things they're wanting to say with Android M is smarter power management. And it's supposed to help improve like standby battery life. Now, we remember Project Volta, which I think that was supposed to launch with Android L. But, it's kind of been one of the big bugs they've been fighting to squash with Android L has been kind of like some memory leaks that was causing some power issues. And I
I
think they've
thought,
pretty much got these resolved.
well, I thought that most of those memory leaks were just a Samsung thing in the new Samsung devices, because on the Nexus devices, that memory leak really never seemed to be an issue. And maybe it's just because it's full Android and not something overlaid on it.
Yeah. But I mean, I was, when I had the Nexus 6 for a while, I don't know if it's just a combination of all the email addresses and things that I've got to keep up with on, my personal daily driver that was causing some battery issues. But the battery on the Nexus 6 was not as good as I was hoping. Now, of course, I was using, some of the first releases of Android
Oh yeah, that's true.
as well. So
when
I think with some of these last updates, they've taken care of that.
When I was using the Nexus 6, it held up pretty good. It didn't quite seem to be as perfect of battery life as my 920 or 920. My goodness, 1520. But it still held its own very well. It lasted me all day. So
yeah. So some of the other changes with this, and I mean, it's all really for on the developer side. Some little visuals, like an increased, improved launcher with some little changes and tweaks like that. They're changing some of the permissions. For example, like I think we mentioned it a few episodes ago.
yeah,
That
the app permissions, right?
Yeah, you're going to get the option to, accept and deny permissions as the app needs them, not just, accept them all right when you're installing the app.
I really, really, really like this.
And I think a lot of people are going
big time like this. This is a big high five to you, Google, and I don't do that very often, but this is really cool. And so is Google Fiber. Anyway.
Yes, definitely. So, whenever we get a chance to get, some more time on our, or really a chance in the first place to mess with Android, and we're going to take it for a spin. Maybe I'm going to have to go find me a Nexus 5 and go ahead and throw that on there and see, because unfortunately they will not let it work on the Nexus 4, which, bummer. It's a shame.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. And I think they also mentioned something about fingerprint scanning as well.
That's good. I think all the devices, regardless, Apple, Android, Windows, they all need to go towards that, because let's be honest, passwords are they're done. We need to get rid of them. We need to do biometrics for everything. Cars, you name it.
Yeah, like a little look. So Google announced fingerprint support for Android N, which will allow you to pay with Android Pay, which we'll talk about more here in a few seconds, to unlock your device and more. So it says it will come with native support for fingerprint scanning. You'll be able to use it to use Android Pay. I almost said Apple Pay. Shucks. As well as unlock your device, you will be able to make Play Store purchases by authorizing them with their fingerprint. Usernames, passwords can be saved with an authenticated fingerprint scan.
Sweet.
Yeah. So Google also announced the developers will be able to add fingerprint scanning support to their apps as well. And M comes with a standardized fingerprint API with an open authentication API as well.
So, and I'm just spitballing here. It'd be really, really cool for those of you who are multiple, OS users, and you got an Android phone, but you got a Windows computer, and you like to get work done. If you could use that fingerprint scanner to unlock your computer, huh? With the that new Windows companion app, that would be cool.
That would be, because I mean, the Touch ID on this iPhone is just, it is amazing, and you didn't really
phenomenal.
Realize.
Amazing is almost an understatement. It works so well. I actually just set it up for my buddy's mom for the first time on her little mini iPad Air or something like that. It's real small and it's an iPad, but it works very well, and it's almost like magic. it's just funny though, because a lot of Apple's products are that they just work. And I think that's why the older generation just kind of, moves towards them. They're easy and they just work.
Yeah, yeah, they pretty much go for those because of that. I mean, that's one thing Apple wanted to do is simplify and improve how we use our devices, and they've done an amazing job with that so far.
Indeed.
So one of the other additions that Google has talked about yesterday will be implementing USB Type-C in upcoming devices. Now, this is also going to help with power needs as well. And one of the cool things about this is that with USB Type-C, you can use your phone to charge other devices or to power other devices, and kind of vice versa. If you need to get a quick charge and you've got a tablet and stuff, I mean, because power goes both ways on USB Type-C.
Yeah, so
that's actually going to be interesting.
Along with the fingerprint scanner being on every phone, that needs to be on literally everything mobile ever. Like the USB Type-C is just get rid of the lightning cable, Apple. I know you like it. I know you might make people upset at first, but in the long run, it is going to help everyone out, because it won't even matter at that point. Like, 5 years down the road, everyone's going to have USB Type-C. You'd be like, hey, I need a charging cable. It won't be, well, are you Apple or are you Android Windows, or anything like that. It'll just be, oh yeah, I got one, because everyone uses the same. Because the new rumors that have been floating around have, the new Windows flagships are also supposed to get USB Type-C. So we'll see.
Yeah, I really hope they do. And that's one of the things, I need to run by an Apple store and look at the new MacBook again, just to see if, like, the current thickness of the iPhone 6, if with it being the size that it is, would a USB Type-C port actually fit in there? So I need to see the thickness on that.
Yeah, so speaking of that real quick, if they take the MacBook and give it like, a little bit better specs, maybe an extra port, like 2 ports or something of the USB Type-C.
Like they do with the new Chromebooks.
And just make it like, what's the size of that one? Is that one a 10-inch or 11 or something? Or is it 12? Anyway, make it like a 13, 14, and put it like right there in the middle, like at the $1,200 mark, $1,300 mark, or something like that. And, with all the prettiness of the new one, I think my fiance would definitely, have found her new device, because she really likes the gold one, but she thinks it's just a little bit too small still.
Yeah, so. It is very small, but man, it is so light and so super portable.
Well, and that's the point. Like, she wanted to go for the 15-inch, and I'm like, you're defeating the purpose of portability if that's what you want. I was like, we have a big computer at home. It works just fine. It has a huge screen. You want portability, so you should go for about 13. I think 13, 14.
Probably the power of what a device that she needs. Yeah, yes, she would be fine with something smaller.
And that's why, like, the Surface is so brilliant. Any of the Surface line is just so brilliant, because if you have a computer at home but you just want the portability, it works. It's perfect. It's light. There's nothing to it, and it goes same for pretty much any of the MacBooks.
Right. Yeah. Definitely a very good size for people.
Yep.
All right. So Google Photos. Now, iMore did a really good post about this. This is actually from Serenity Caldwell, talking about how Google Photos may be free, but there's still going to be a cost. She talked a little bit about the quote-unquote the dark side of free, and I'll read a little bit from this post. As a company, Google has a lengthy history of offering free services with outrageously awesome storage capacities. Look at Gmail or Google Drive. There's a great business reason for that. Free, which people love free things. Who doesn't love free? Brad, you and I talked before the show about people not wanting to spend $1 on
for an app. Yeah. Which, by the way, I'm sorry guys, but just support your developers. Like, just don't.
Right. So as a result, you get an awesome service you don't have to pay money for. But what does Google get with that relationship? All sorts of data, lots and lots of data. So with photographs, obviously, if there's more and more location tags and all kinds of information that can be embedded into photos, people are actually wondering, well, if you're using Google Photos to host all your photos, what kind of information will Google and other advertisers be able to pull out of this to start targeting with ads and marketing and things like that? What will you be giving up in regards to using this service? So it's definitely going to be something to keep an eye on with that as well.
Isn't that kind of like, I want to say Instagram, where if you upload a photo there, it's kind of theirs? Or is that Flickr?
I
I don't remember.
Yeah, I know there was some discussion in the past about Instagram and who truly owns that photo once you do that. If does it become yours or does it become theirs? And there was also, I saw this story actually earlier this week, and I thought about putting in the notes and talking about it either today or Wednesday, about a guy that would go through Instagram photos and screen shop them or screen
Oh, and then go through and sell them?
Yeah, and then was
Yeah,
selling
isn't that
these.
nuts?
Yeah, I was like, that is just unbelievable.
I can't believe that he can get away with this.
Yeah, I don't think he was. I think people were really upset, and some lawsuits were starting to come in there for
I mean,
infringement.
I would think at least to just cease and desist, whatever money you made, so be it, but just stop doing this.
Yeah. So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's a little
caught my eyes. Like, wait a second, no.
Make your own photos, dude.
Moving on with Google Maps. Now, I still strongly believe
this is
Google
exciting.
Maps is probably the best navigation experience on a mobile device is Google Maps. So what is going to be coming later this year is full offline Google Maps access. So, you won't need to have a data connection to be able to find directions to somewhere. And you can also get, your turn-by-turn directions, and you can even you can do searches for restaurants and view their business hours and read reviews and get all kinds of information that way without needing to be connected to a network for some reason.
Yeah, that is one of the main reasons that I use the Here Drive Plus, whatever they call it. I don't even remember anymore, because I can use it offline because I have limited data and I want to save it for when I actually want to use it. I don't know or recall if Android has had something other than Here, for offline. But I mean, being as it's full on Google Maps, let's be honest, folks, Google Maps are one of the best, if not the best, maps you can possibly use today. So the fact that you can use them offline is pretty incredible.
Yeah. That's pretty exciting, and that is one of the nice things that I do like about Nokia's Here Maps is, you can download individual states and regions.
Yeah, that way you're
to
not
your
taking
device.
up all the memory on your phone to download all of the US or all of Canada or wherever it is you may live, Germany.
Yeah, it's I might never go to this region of state, so I don't need it. But or if I am planning a trip, I can say, okay, well, I'm going through this state, and this state, so I definitely want to make sure I've got the maps on my phone, just in case we're driving through an area that there's poor reception. So that is definitely good news. That's exciting stuff.
Oh yes, absolutely. The only thing that would make it a little more exciting is if someday Microsoft and Google could get along. Which reminds me, apparently YouTube will also be available offline. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but that's kind of cool. And then there was one other thing. Was it Gmail?
Well, in their email app Inbox is available pretty much to anybody without the need of an invite.
Okay.
So if people want to use that Inbox app, that is now available for pretty much everybody. Still not sure if it's completely open to business users. Like for us, we have an stltechtalk.com domain that we use through Google and Gmail. Not sure if that is still beta invite only or if that's available to everybody else. Because I would really like to try that and see if it would be something to use. But I'm perfectly content using the Outlook app on my iPhone.
Yeah, I really think that is a good app that Microsoft has pretty much bought and made their own, but regardless, it's amazing.
Yeah, it works really good. So I know you've had a chance to kind of look a little bit into the NVIDIA Shield Android
Yeah,
TV thing
so
today.
being as I'm a gamer, I'm obviously gravitated towards this first thing. I'm not big on mobile games, so I'm not completely sold. I don't like to invest a lot of time in mobile games because I'd rather invest more time in like a core console game. That's just me. This might interest some of you though, because it's a new Android console, and let's see, there's two price points. There's a $200 one and a $300 one. Now the $200 one is pretty much the same thing as the $300 one spec wise, minus the fact you only get 16 gigabytes of storage. Now for games, that's like nothing. And I can't, or I did not see if there's expandable or not. I wouldn't see any reason why there wouldn't be, but just in case there isn't, that just sounds like a terrible idea. Don't do that. Pay $100 more, you get 500 gigabytes. That's plenty for like everything, especially if they're just mobile games. And you also get Borderlands the pre-sequel. So you get a free game, you get more storage. That's a no-brainer for me. So but like I said, the first one is 16 gigabytes, no free game, and that's $200. And then the 500 gigabytes with a free game is $300. So essentially, it's kind of paying for itself almost, getting the $300 one. So that's just me. If you were interested in something like this, I wouldn't even bother with the $200 one. Just save that extra $100. You save yourself a headache.
Yeah, there's plenty of games going to be available at launch. Looking at this story, over 200 plus Android games are available. Just about every streaming media app out there is also going to be available as well.
Yeah,
Cable
so
cutters.
being as it's an Android console, I'm sure that they'll have some kind of access to like a Google Play Store in a way. So essentially, it's kind of the concept of how the Xbox is getting Windows 10, and in a way they could have access to almost every app in the Windows Store.
Right.
So that being said, like there's going to be thousands of apps automatically. So that just knocks the socks off of Roku, if you ask me. Sure, it's a little more expensive, but if you're willing to pay that little bit more, you got something to play with occasionally versus just constantly streaming and watching stuff.
Yeah, cable cutters get an extra push with support for IP tuners and over-the-air tuners, and a friendly TV guide-like user interface brings it all together.
Yeah, which it also got a remote, which is cool. A physical remote instead of using your phone all the time. It's the whole app with the phone. It's a good idea to an extent, but it's kind of silly. I don't want to have to reach for my phone, unlock it, open it up, open the app, then get to the controls. I would just rather pick up a remote, to be honest. Maybe I'm old school.
Yeah, and some of the one other last little thing here with Google Cast and HDMI-CEC embedding Chromecast functionality into the box, and Google's recent push towards letting your friends use their phones as controllers for some games. You've got a reasonable kit.
So you could use this as a Chromecast too.
Yep.
That is awesome. So there are rumors that we're supposed to be getting something like that with the Xbox. So that would be cool too. But this already has it. So that's really cool. I don't see any reason why any console shouldn't have that anymore. A PlayStation being one of them. They sort of have something like that, but it's kind of reverse. I think it goes to the Vita, but not very many people have a Vita, so I don't know. But that's really cool.
Yeah. So did it say any time when we can expect to see this? Did you catch a date or anything like that?
It says order yours today at shield.nvidia.com, Amazon, and Best Buy. What does Amazon say?
If you go to shield.nvidia.com,
it looks like
this is how you.
Released on June 12th for the 500 gigabyte, but it looks like the 16 gigabyte is like ready to go.
Okay.
So there's a stand. If you want to stand it upright, it's $30. Unless you just want to lay it flat. which it looks really cool standing up. So if you're an aesthetic person like I am, you might want to grab that stand too. It looks like the remote is sold separately for $50. Okay, that's kind of a downer.
Yeah, that's a little expensive for a remote.
Yeah, and then the controller looks like it's separate as well. Unless it all comes in the box. Let's see. I'm not too sure.
No, the controller's included. With
Okay, good.
what's inside, you get the NVIDIA Shield controller, AC adapter, an HDMI cable, and a USB cable as well.
Okay, good. At least they did that.
And the stand is $30, the remote is $50, and another additional controller is $60.
Come on, that controller is like $25. It should be along the line. I mean, the Xbox controller, for instance, has 4 times as many buttons, and it's twice as cheap. So, come on, NVIDIA.
All right. So let's go ahead and move into some Oculus Rift talk as well.
Oh, sure.
And then we got that story in here.
Yeah, so they had some kind of meeting, if you will, and they were kind of talking about price range for the Oculus Rift. And they kind of came up with a figure. It's about $1,500 US altogether. And what that includes is your actual gaming rig, your PC. The bare bones price for the Oculus itself seems to be right at about the $300 mark, which is not terrible. I was expecting it to be, well, it says this implies for the $500 headset. So I don't know. They're not really clear on the price yet for the Oculus Rift, but the way they had priced it out, the computer was $1,200 and the Oculus Rift made the last $300 up. So I don't know, but they kind of priced out a mid-range PC, i-Core i5, NVIDIA GeForce GTX 970 or AMD Radeon 290X with 8 gigabytes of RAM. And it's about $1,000, yada yada. But so it seems like you can't just plug this into a MacBook and expect it to work. You're gonna have to have some serious like graphics card going on here. You might be able to buy like one of the Alienware laptops or Asus, the Gaming Republic ones, and it might be able to work, but I mean, unless you're like me and you can just switch out parts on your rig, you're going to be spending a lot to get this thing to work. So I don't know if that's worth it for everyone. But yeah. I mean, it's still a virtual reality, really cool stuff. But is it for everybody? We don't know yet.
Yep, we will definitely find out. Let's see. Did it even give a... No, okay, so the consumer version should ship in the first quarter of 2016.
Yes, it seems like all the virtual reality stuff, whether it be Project Morpheus, is it Vive? Yeah, Vive from HTC for Steam, or the Oculus, they're all first quarter 2016. So you're going to be waiting on all of them. That being said, it sounds like all of them are also going to need high-end specs. I mean, I think I even have to change out my graphics card in order to get it to running properly. You know, because if you don't hit that threshold of 75 frames per second, you're gonna kind of get that motion sickness thing because it's not going to be refreshing fast enough to where your eyes are going to see it, and it's going to make you sick because it's not moving the way it's supposed to.
Right.
So
yeah, the future's getting here closer and closer.
I mean, 5 years down the road, these will be like mid-range features / getting towards mid to low. You know, so
right.
You know, wait a few years if you need to. It's not going anywhere.
All right. So for those people that are interested in new Lumia devices, there's been a report that the Lumia 940 has been possibly spotted in benchmarks. And, looking through some of the, reports from this report from over at neowin.net, the GFX bench measures the free RAM and storage as they're expecting it to be like 3 gigabytes of RAM. Now, looking through the rest of the specs, you're looking at a hexa-core CPU, which we're kind of expecting to be the Snapdragon 808 processor, and a new version of the Adreno 430 GPU, along with 32 gig of storage. Now, basically, what does this sound like? It sounds like the LG G4. Over, with some of those internals based on what I just said there. This benchmark came in with a 5.2-inch display, and let's see, the camera, their stat pulled in 17 megapixel, but they're figuring that to be like the 4.3 aspect ratio, that you can get a little bit higher with different versions. And it looks like about a 5 megapixel front facing camera.
So I have a theory, and this could possibly be an 840.
Okay.
Being as some of the specs are lower than what they said it was. But I mean, it's just a harebrained guess that it could be an 840. The reason I say that is because if you think about when the 820 and the 920 launched, they were very, very similar, minus the fact, the camera was leagues better and it had like wireless charging built in, and things like that. So, I mean, they were very similar, but the 920 was just over the top better. Whereas, with this, they could put a 1080 screen in it. And then the 940, they could put the quad HD or whatever it is they're going to go for. Maybe 2K. I don't know. But it's just a guess. So.
Right. The display resolution on this device tested at 2560 by 1440 and with 1080p detail is a crop of the full resolution capable on this device.
Don't understand that. Why is it a crop?
Yeah, that's a good question.
That's the part that I'm like, what? Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so, well, we don't really know which device this is. It could be the 940. It could be something like an 840. Yeah, we'll wait and see. But what do you think about that 5.2-inch display? Does that sound like I mean, I know you're like the 5.5 range.
That's not bad, but we're getting closer to the almost perfect, which I think is about 5.7, 5.8. That's just me.
Mm-hmm.
But this would be perfect for most of you out there. The 5.2, 5 to 5.2 is probably next to perfect for most people. It's still big, it's still big, it's still small. It's kind of like right there in the middle.
Right.
If you would have said that 5 years ago, people would have been laughing at you. But
oh gosh, if everything was small, they'd be like, "Oh heck no, definitely would not put."
Yeah, it's like almost dead in the middle between an iPhone 6 Plus and the regular iPhone. It's like almost smack dab in the middle of that. So
yeah, pretty close.
That gives you a size comparison, if you will.
Yeah, so hopefully, we'll get more hard information.
Yes, please, fast, soon, sometime. I think it will be after the actual full-blown Windows won't launch, if I were to guess, when we get more information.
That is true.
And then they'll be like, and this will be ready a month from now, kind of thing.
Right. All right, so talk about this Xbox One controller redesign.
So for any of you who have an Xbox controller, you realize that you can't just full-blown plug in, a headset or earbuds or what have you to the 3.5 millimeter jack that like the PlayStation controller has. Well, looks like that's changing because once again, this is the new Microsoft and they listen to their fans and customers. And I think this will be released during E3 or talked about at E3, how they are changing the controller to have the 3.5 millimeter jack built in, which is really cool stuff because then they could put out a chat pad if for people like me who really want a chat pad back because I missed that from the 360. But I'm excited about this because you won't have to buy that $30 adapter to use a headset anymore. So that's really cool. Bravo, Microsoft.
Let's see. So do we have an idea when these new controllers might be available.
Well, it says
June
June 8th, but I just don't believe that. I feel like this is going to be I feel like this is going to be an announcement at E3. But once again, I could be wrong. I'm usually wrong, but that's okay.
I don't think that's something that needs to be waited for a conference.
Maybe, but I mean, it's just the E3 conference. If you can remember, for Microsoft 2 years ago was horrible because so many things happened and they didn't really get a chance to explain their story. They backtracked a lot, and because of that, it hurt their sales. It shows like their sales just were not good, and it's because they couldn't, let the customer know, hey, this is doing this and this is out and this is doing this. I don't know if the customers will still know that, hey, there's a new controller out and you don't need an adapter for it. That's not something an average customer would necessarily know. I'm not saying everyone doesn't know. I'm just saying some. Right. Your average gamer, or what have you. But it would be nice for them to at least release a commercial or something to inform people, hey, this new controller is out. You can go buy it now. So I think they definitely need to convey that message.
All right. Well, that pretty much does it for our list of news for this episode. So moving to the app and entertainment picks, you've got an interesting website here. I'd definitely like to hear you talk a little bit more about this.
Yeah, so let me pull that up. Actually, it's on my phone. I'll just do that. So there is a website called Unchecky, and you can download an app called Unchecky, which this isn't for people probably listening to this podcast. This is for the people listening to this podcast who work on their parents' computer or their sister's computer.
Just click, 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 click.
Yeah, where if they install something, instead of it trying to provide you with all this crapware, like if you download, I want to say Adobe Flash, they try to give you all this like Ask toolbars and stupid crap like that. I understand that's the reason why it makes that app free, but just no. I would honestly rather pay a few bucks or something, or just not use it at all, one of the two. But this makes it to where it unchecks all the boxes anytime you try to install an app like that. And before you install an app, if something is still checked for whatever reason, it will warn you, hey, this box is still checked. Do you really want to install the Ask toolbar? And you can say, no, absolutely not. So I think this really helps the less tech literate people, and it kind of streamlines things where they can download things and not worry about a bunch of crapware invading their PC every time they want to download, something simple. Oh, hi, kitty. But yeah, so I think that definitely helps.
Right. Yeah, I think it would be definitely really good for people because it can be really frustrating in working in IT in a school with students having their own laptops and having to bring them in for viruses and things like that. You see all kinds of junk installed. And
exactly.
Something like this would be very beneficial for that.
Yeah, put it on your parents' computer, put it on your sister's computer, whatever. I don't mean to harp on girls in particular. Just I have 3 sisters, that's why I say sister. But because girls can be smart too, just saying. But anyway, yeah, so definitely worth checking into if you are constantly working on grandparents, parents, whatever, what have you, computer, and just in case they want to try to download something, this might help them with that.
Yeah, I think it would. All right,
that was a tip. Now I just want a real quick plug. That was a tip from Windows Weekly by Paul Thurrott, and I really liked it, so I put it in here. So there you go.
Okay. Yeah, so if you did not already hear that, now you know. And just real quick, mentioning Windows Weekly, there was some news that came out this week as well that the Twit network is going to end live streaming and live chats on all their shows.
Really?
Yes, due to trolls and just all kinds of ridiculous issues that moderators have to spend so much time and energy during each show to.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I mean, they're so big now. I would imagine there are constant just trolls every once in a while or every day because they're so
Yes.
big. I mean, he's like king of podcasts, to be honest. I mean, I don't think
Yeah,
anybody touches him.
they've got so many shows on pretty much every
They're like
topic possibly.
35 shows or something in that ballpark. That's a lot of shows.
Yeah. Yeah, there's shows on everything. They've got security, software development.
9 to
Yeah.
5 Mac, uh, This Week in Android or something like that. This Windows Weekly. I mean, they've got everything. Ham radio. So,
Yeah. All right, so we'll move in, and some things that I want to mention as well before we wrap up this episode is that our weekly poll is pretty much over. And I think it's got like 40 minutes as of the time that we record this. And
so what are the results?
Yeah, so the results out of the responses is 62% of people say no, that they do not think that using smartwatches will help users reduce the chances of dropping their phones versus 37%.
I disagree with that a little. And the only reason I say that is because if I were to think about the times when people drop their phone the most, I think it's when it comes out of your pocket or goes into your pocket. If you miss the pocket, it's going on the floor. If you fumble it when you're taking it out, it's going on the floor.
Right.
I think this would reduce it. And I'm just going to throw a percentage out just because I haven't done studies and I'm just guessing. I'd say 20-30% reduction of broken screens. I think that would be fair.
If your phone is in your pocket and you get a text message or something like that, you can look at it and you can even respond to it on the majority of Android Wear or Apple Watch,
and even the Microsoft Band too. I mean, you can voice or type, which is the typing is actually really interesting because it actually works really good. Yeah. But yeah, you can respond to it right from your wrist, and that way your phone doesn't have to come out. I use it constantly, to do that at work because, well, it's a kind of a hostile environment for a phone because everything is concrete. So don't want to take that phone out too often.
Right. All right. So the next weekly poll that we're going to run until next Friday's episode is, what is your main operating device on your phone? Do you use iPhone? Are you an Android user, Windows Phone user? We're curious of what the listeners and people that will vote in this poll think. So
yeah, and the reason I kind of want to get a feel for this is so when we curate some news, maybe we'll put in an extra, Android or iPhone or Windows or whatever, story, because that's what you guys are interested in. So it would really help out if you guys, go ahead and check out that poll. I go to thetechinformist.com.
Yes.
And there will be a link for that.
Yep, it'll be right in the show notes of this episode, and we'll also share that on social media, on Twitter and Facebook, for example, will be two places.
Indeed.
So you will have a full week to vote on this. And let's see, moving it in, just throw out there, where people can find us. They can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Google Plus, and again, Instagram. It's there. Just not really posting a lot of images, unfortunately. Which
we need to, like every device that we're testing, we need to find just a really cool picture from that, the one cool picture we took with that device and put it on Instagram. Be like, this is from this device. This is from this device.
We'll get that figured out. So many things in my mind to do.
Instagram's just that next layer. It's like, oh my goodness, there's so many layers. It's like an onion.
Yeah, just keep peeling away. Keep peeling away. But we'd also would appreciate if you could subscribe and leave us a review of the show on iTunes or Stitcher Radio. Whether or not you use iTunes or Stitcher Radio to actually consume the show, make sure to go to those. We've got links in the show notes of every episode that you can go there and just simply leave us a review and a rating and stuff like that. So again, you don't have to use iTunes to as the way that you consume the content, but if you could just leave us a review there or and or on Stitcher Radio, that would be great. So the people that are actually looking at the show can see what people are actually thinking of it. Really would appreciate that and help spread the word about what the show is and stuff like that. So, and then one last thing, if you're interested in helping support the show, please visit thetechinformist.com/support. And pretty much all the information is there. We got a few different levels that you can get involved in, as low as $1 a month. Just every little bit helps, and move forward on maybe getting some things to give away for the upcoming. I know we've got a few things that we've been stocking up that we might be able to give away here in the not too distant future. So that pretty much does it for the episode. Again, Kevin Harvell. You can find me on Twitter at Kevin Harvell. And Brad, go ahead and tell people where people can find you.
Well, you can always find me on the Xbox, Holy Space Shadows, or you can find me on Twitter at Holy_Shadows. So.
All right. So Brad loves playing games. He's definitely been racking up some hours on the Destiny download.
Yeah, I'm trying to get through that because I have a big catalog of games that I want to get through. That way I can move on to like these big open world games like The Witcher 3, Grand Theft Auto 5, because those are going to take up a big chunk of my time. And once I get to those, I'll be just playing those for like a month or two. So,
yeah.
Yep.
All right. So that pretty much does it for this episode. Again, we appreciate everybody that watches and listens live, and everybody that listens and or watches after the fact. Again, we do appreciate it. So if there's anything you'd like to, hear more from us or learn more about, any suggestions for the show, let us know. You can reach out via email, contact at thetechinformist.com. Hit us up on Twitter as well.
Feedback, Facebook. If you want to say, hey, you were wrong about this, I'm okay with that. I will start that.
It was a terrible story. This was a terrible episode.
Yeah,
exactly.
This was a
great episode. Let us know. We're always looking for feedback on how to improve. So, all right. So that pretty much does it. And until next time, consider yourself informed. Have a great weekend, everybody. We are out.
Have a good weekend.